Okay, so imagine for a moment that you are at home and you're like, oh, I need to make up that test. I haven't taken that like chapter one test from or first test of this quarter, and I wonder if I could come in tomorrow and take that. You're thinking, well, it's too late to email Mr. Server, so I probably can't come in. Wrong, wrong, wrong. You can come in. You can take that test. You just got to know whether or not it's a morning I'm open, which more than likely it is because 3 of the mornings I'm open for you coming in and taking a test like that. So where would you find that? In the welcome folder. Okay, so I'll show you what it looks like. And I'll pause for a second while I pull that up. All right, so for my higher algebra classes, here's my welcome folder. And I click on that. And inside there is the welcome page, HHA server. Nothing here seems to talk about morning help times. I'll click there. And once I'm in, then I can see, oh, looks like he's available on Mondays and Thursdays during 0 hour for help, or Wednesdays during MAST for help. So if you needed to come in and take that test and you wanted to come in on a Monday morning or a Thursday morning, you just come in and take it. Totally okay. And if you wanted to, you could even look down in here under late/missing work or test procedure. Like, I should really have a more space there, but late work or missing test procedure. And you can take the test without a reservation or email. You can just come into my room and take it right here. How about after school? We'll look at my schedule again. There's the after school times. Looks like not Tuesdays or Fridays. But any other day after school, you can just come in right here, get some help. All right, and what was the other question that I had up there? How do you contact me? Ooh, that's on that page too. You can send me a Schoology message or email, and here it's got my email. And you guys know how to Schoology message, I'm sure, so that's a good way to do it. It just sends me, realistically, it's going to come to me via email, even if you send it on Schoology. Okay, and then the third question was, when is my retake? Well, if you bombed a test, can you retake it? Sure, but it's not going to happen until the what happens? Cumulative. All right, so on the cumulative test, the only question I will ask at that point is, did you do the what? Corrections. You have to do corrections. If you didn't have a chance to read that over, I didn't require you to, but there's a thing in here about retakes. Where is that? Right there, retake procedure. And the main thing it's going to stress is that first step is to do corrections before or after school with me. It's not something you can do at home. You got to come in, look at the test, make your mistakes corrected, correct them on a separate sheet. All right? Okay, so that's just a minute for some of the main like procedure things that kids ask me. Does this mean I never want you to ask me anything? Like I'm trying to prevent all questions? No. I'm trying to show you where you can get the answers to some easy questions. I'd still love it if you want to talk to me. I'd rather just have it be about more interesting things like, hey, I got a big choir concert tomorrow. I had a kid tell me that they were going to be performing, and it was one of my honors pre-calc students, and he was going to be like the soloist at this, and he was amazing. I'm so glad he told me. I came, I heard him play his violin, and I can't see the kid in a different way now. He's just so good at the violin. I had no idea. Well, if he hadn't reached out and told me, I wouldn't have been able to go. So I can't say I'm going to go to everything that you tell me that you're doing, not at all, but if you don't tell me, then there's no way I could. All right, so contact me, but don't contact me about like, can I come in for, yes, pretty much the answer is yes, please come in. And can I, yes, pretty much probably the answer is yes. All right, so it's very rare when I ever would have to say no to a student. Like, no, you can't retake this test. That's really, really rare. Okay, so how about this top 20 that you're going to take in a few minutes? How many of you knew we were taking a top 20 today? You'd heard it through the grapevine. All right, we're taking top 20 today. And what is it? Let's make sure you understand. It's 20 questions in 20 minutes. Why do we only get 20 minutes? Yes?
Because these are, I don't know the word, but they're the best things that we want to know. And then be able to.
Yep. You should be really good at these fluent with these, and you should be able to do them quick. Yes? You are correct. The ACT times you 30 minutes, 30 questions. Well, actually, on the math, that's 60 minutes, 60 questions. So you get exactly 1 minute per problem. I want you to get used to that pace. And there's some ACT questions that have a whole bunch of wording you have to read first to understand that, Mary and Bob are going to go to the grocery store. Anyway, you got to read through all of that and then do this math problem. So you got to be pretty fast to be able to ace the ACT. Let me tell you a good reason why you should care about the ACT. I got 3 kids. One couldn't get into the school he really wanted to go to because his ACT wasn't awesome. It wasn't terrible, but he needed it to get a little higher to have a better chance. Okay, well, so that means that forever, for the rest of his life, it could have been changed because he wouldn't have met his spouse, who went there also. He wouldn't have the job he has right now if he hadn't gotten into that school. I mean, it could change the course of your life. Okay, so then how about number 2? What if you already have a pretty decent ACT? That's one of my kids had a pretty decent ACT. She could get into the school she wanted to go to. But going to the same exact school with a higher ACT saved her $6,000. Like, they had an automatic scholarship. If you can get above a 32 ACT, you get the President's Scholarship. So for her, it was $6,000. For some of you guys that want to go to Iowa, they have an automatic scholarship that kicks in at 28. And let's say you've got a 27 ACT. Sorry, you don't get the scholarship. It's $8,000 per year times 4 years. That's $32,000. Do you get why an extra 1 point on your ACT could make a big difference? Because that's $32,000. That's like more than the cost of a brand new car or a really nice brand new car. Okay, just because you did a little better on a test. So that's one of the reasons that it's important to do well on your ACT, at least as well as you can. All right, so is this only about the ACT? No. These same exact skills are going to help you in this math class. See, I could have picked things that are good for the ACT, but don't matter for my math class. I picked things. I made this test. It wasn't just like some random guy on the internet. I picked the things that I knew were good for this class and good for the ACT, so it's going to help you in both. All right, so it's really, really, really helpful. I know some of you have heard this more than once, and I apologize, but there's brand new kids in here and don't know what this thing is. And you all took something called the Friendly 20 or something. What was it at the beginning of the year? First 20. Okay, you all, no matter which teacher you had, you took the first 20. But I make you go to the next level, which is this thing called Top 20, which is definitely harder than the first 20. So when we're done in a few minutes, you'll be graded. You'll have the score of, let's say it's 13 out of 20. That's pretty common. It's enough, technically. You shouldn't think of it that way. You should think of it as, okay, so I've found that there's 7 things that I am not good at yet, or dumb mistakes that I made. Okay? And separate out the dumb mistakes. If you look through your work and you're like, oh, I just forgot a negative here, then it's just about being careful. But usually for some kids, it's about both. I wasn't careful on this, this, and this, and I didn't know how to do that, that, and that. So if you need help on how to fix that, come in the morning. You now know when. It's right there on my welcome sheet. So you can come in and get some help. I really, really encourage you to do that. It can make a big difference in the long run for you. If you could master this. I'm going to make one more bold claim. And so far, only one kid has proven me wrong. If you can get an A on this top 20, then you will get at least an A minus in my class. And now I know some of you smart kids are like, I could make that wrong. Get an A on this, because I could get an A on this and then just get a crappy grade just to prove Mr. Server wrong. But not many people are willing to stake their GPA on making Mr. Server wrong. So I'm going to say it. If you can get yourself so good at this that you can get a 19 or a 20 out of 20, then I will bet you will have an A minus in this class at least. And I'm only throwing the minus on there because some kids are not awesome at homework and therefore lower their grade average because they aren't good at homework. So, okay, so these are powerful. I encourage you to do your best on it, but not get depressed if there's a lot wrong. Just know that we can fix it. And this first one only goes in as a non-graded. So even if you get an F, it'll be there, but it will not affect your grade at all. And then the second time we do it, it's only going to count like homework. But the third time we do it, then it'll count like a real test. And that one has unlimited retakes on it. So you can just take it over and over and over until you get it right. It's not the same test. I mean, it's the same type of test. Problems change. I got 14 versions of it. So if you want to take it, I had one kid, last story on this, who started off with a not very good score, but I knew he was smart. I'm not going to use his name just because I'm putting this out on the internet, right? I knew he was smart, but he had a pretty sucky top 20 score. It was like an 8, and it didn't get that much better. He took it the next time, he got like a 9, but he kept at it. He kept taking it, kept retaking it. Was with me for both higher algebra and pre-calc. Kept retaking it, kept retaking it. By the end, he finally had got it down, and then he sent me an email later. It was like, I got a 32 on my ACT, and I got into the school that I really wanted to get to, and I know I couldn't have done it without learning those things, so thanks for making me do that. So that might be you. I don't know who's could fall into that same category, but if you're that kid who is willing to work on this, this could be the moment where your math turns around from just being an average student to being an awesome math student that then rocks the ACT. All right. So, without further ado, clear off your desk, set up something to write with. Pencil is recommended but not required. And we're going to take a 20-minute top 20. I'm going to pause the video for a minute. We'll talk a little bit about what you're supposed to do after this for your homework. Okay, so in Honors Higher Algebra, to sum it up, we basically did a top 20 today, and we talked a little bit about procedures and where to find like the information about what days I'm available. And the only homework is to finish up the homework from yesterday, where I told you you had 2 days to do it. Well, that means it's due tonight at midnight, that first Schoology quiz. And that's all I have for you for today.